Voluntourism has grown exponentially in recent years. People often consider it one of the best job markets. But wait, is it entirely true? Is it really one of the best markets? If you ask me, this is not entirely true. There is something that you must know. Hello friends, welcome back to Darkness Unraveled. Today, we are back here again with an insightful video that you should not only know, but also make people aware of. There is a dark side to volunteering that you must know about. Watch the video till the end so as not to miss anything that you should know. By 10 p.m., the appropriately named Bar Street is teeming with visitors lured to Siem Reap by the world-famous Angkor Wat monuments. Children playing traditional instruments are escorted along by guys holding signs that say "Support our orphans," while hip-hop music blasts from clubs. The children grin sweetly at the diners and drinkers, and anybody who makes a gift is urged to visit a nearby orphanage, one of many in the city, and maybe volunteer there. This is the most obvious effort to entice visitors with big eyes and heartbreaking tales of abandonment. Other orphanages depend on websites that feature photographs of smiling youngsters. Some have teamed up with guest houses, taxi drivers, and most importantly, Western tour companies that combine volunteer work with a once-in-a-lifetime trip. Untold anguish may lurk beneath those grins. Orphanages are a thriving industry in Cambodia, as they are in other areas of the world. Some are even claimed to have been intentionally kept filthy. As a result, Westerners feel sorry for the children, and as a result, they create a disgusting business that exploits their fears. This is the negative aspect of our desire to assist developing countries. Look at those adorable kids again. Those orphans were either purchased from destitute parents, forced from loving homes, or just hired for the night. According to official research, just 1/4 of the children in these so-called orphanages had both parents, and the number of these private companies is rapidly growing. It has climbed by 65% in only 3 years. Once again, misguided efforts to aid communities end up damaging them. We've seen that with foreign assistance, which has been toxic in so many nations by bolstering despots, encouraging corruption, and destroying indigenous businesses. We've seen it with the dumping of cheap food and clothing, which has destroyed businesses and fostered a dependent mentality. And now we have voluntourism, the fastest growing section of one of the world's fastest growing businesses. But what exactly is volunteering? Voluntourism is a new kind of travel that is gaining popularity all over the globe. Voluntourism is when individuals volunteer while traveling abroad. In some ways, it is akin to ecotourism in that the goal of improving people's lives is still present. However, unlike ecotourism, voluntourism is focused on helping people rather than the environment. Voluntourism entails travelers embarking on missions to assist with a certain cause. This international volunteer job includes not only the tasks of a volunteer, but also the opportunity for travelers to explore new areas, experience a different culture, and learn more about people in other nations. Because you get to immerse yourself in another country while assisting others in need, the time spent becomes an exciting and satisfying holiday. What is the meaning of volunteerism? Most people who sign up to volunteer overseas have good intentions. In most situations, it is a particular organization or the nature of the volunteer job that causes problems. But this raises the issue of whether charity and tourism might obstruct true influence. And if so, how can you assess whether a volunteer program is benefiting or harming people? The media has reported on orphanages in Nepal that house children who are not orphans, as well as visitors who uncover volunteer organizations that profit from natural calamities. Tina Rosenberg, a writer for The Guardian, wrote an article in 2018 about a Guatemalan company that looks for sick newborns in mountain communities and asks volunteers to pick them up instead of taking them straight to the hospital, which could be done to delay necessary care. There are also situations when tourists volunteer for the wrong reasons, as seen in the film below by Radi Aid, a Norwegian organization that attempts to question views of poverty and progress. Traveling gives us a fresh perspective on the world, which may lead to other beneficial changes in our lives, and sticking off the beaten path can improve that experience. Time spent in local community, for example, will undoubtedly give a lot more real experience than sitting in a resort drinking a drink. People who travel often are 35 times more likely than non-travelers to give to organizations during their lives, according to the Center for Responsible Travel. The validity or success of voluntourism program, like the legitimacy or success of sustainable tourism in general, is heavily dependent on how it is administered. When done correctly, it may help communities thrive while benefiting a certain cause, but it's also up to each volunteer, who has the extra responsibility of staying up to date and making sure their destinations do well. Voluntourism may be a powerful instrument for bringing about positive change in underserved areas throughout the world, but it is often up to the volunteers to do the legwork in weeding out the good from the bad. According to Ken Budd, author of the award-winning book The Voluntourist, not all volunteer programs are made equal, and many groups throughout the globe provide long-term impacts. The writer's experience, he's volunteered in at least 6 countries, speaks for itself, such as teaching English in a Costa Rican elementary school that relied on volunteers when they couldn't afford teachers, or a climate change program in Ecuador where scientists were able to run more research projects thanks to volunteer labor. Now the question is volunteering a danger? Some concerns have been expressed by development organizations providing professionals with the opportunity to utilize their abilities overseas. Voluntary service overseas has even criticized this developing sector as a new kind of colonialism. VSO questioned whether unqualified British youths had the authority to force their desire to do good in developing country schools. And Norman is correct. The farther you go, the more fundamental the problems concerning misdirected idealism and misguided views become. A frightening sort of slum tourism has gained popularity in recent years, with wealthy tourists offering a look into the lives of the extremely poor. Surprisingly, visitors in Asia pay for visits by distributing food to needy rural communities. In Africa, some travel companies combine a visit to an orphanage with time spent on the beach or seeing wild animals. Some people say that taking pictures of orphan kids, some of whom may have just lost their parents, puts them on the same level as lions and zebras on the veld. Many orphanages allow visitors to work with youngsters. But what if unregulated foreigners entered our children's homes and cuddled and looked after them? We would be horrified, so why should the developing world standards be lowered? Yes, resources may be few, but just as in our country, experts prefer that children be raised in families or fostered in loving homes rather than in the growing number of subpar facilities. As the authors of this research point out, the unpleasant reality is that voluntourism is about Westerners' self-fulfillment rather than addressing the needs of poor countries. This may be unexpected in a society where Madonna believes it is okay to remove children from African families. Unregistered orphanages have proliferated in Ghana, as they have in South Africa and Cambodia. Last year, after investigating the rape of an 8-month-old kid, authorities determined that 27 of the 32 children were not orphans. According to a government assessment, up to 90% of the estimated 4,500 orphan children had at least one parent, and only 8 of the 148 institutions were licensed. According to UNICEF officials, children's well-being is secondary to profits, and less than 1/3 of the budget is spent on childcare. The desire to participate in the world as well as to volunteer is admirable, but we must walk cautiously. We could do better visiting, trading, and spending money in underdeveloped nations unless we have the time and transferable skills. The fast expansion of voluntourism is similar to the quick growth of the assistance sector in that we are salving our consciences without fully understanding the ramifications for those we aim to help. All too frequently, our well-intended attempts to assist merely exacerbate the situation. So here we are done with this video. What do you think about volunteering? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Let us know in the comment box whether voluntourism should be continued or banned. If you guys still have any queries about it, put them in the comment box. If you enjoyed our content, please like and share our video with your friends. Also, subscribe to our channel to watch more videos like this and hit the bell icon to get a notification of our latest videos. Thanks for watching.